Everybody, what I'm going to talk about today is preparedness. Whether it's preparedness for a nor'easter or preparedness for a pandemic, a virus outbreak. The focus today will be on the virus outbreak because we're dealing with COVID-19 right now. Monday, we had 60-mile-an-hour winds. We had to be prepared for electrical outages, and they did happen in many places here in Connecticut. But you just never know what it's going to be, and you got to try and be generally prepared as much as possible for a multitude of different things. So when it comes to viruses, I've always been kind of a medical guy. I don't have, just basic first responder medical from police department as well as combat casualty care, and then basic medical training when the military, CPR. I did take a medical course outside of that just for combat casualty care outside of what I got at the police department at one point. So I've always been that kind of guy where I'm just like, I don't want to have to rely on fire, EMS all the time if they're not available, and law enforcement if they're not available, which happens quite often. So here's what I've done over the years. Collecting things, buying things. You can see a multitude of masks. You see surgical masks. You can see dust masks. You can see gas masks with a canister that's rated for chemical, biological ratings. You see medical bag, first aid kit, gloves, disinfectant, and then this item right here, which I'll talk about in a moment, as well as some hand sanitizer. And I have other things too. This is just a basic. I always have things like disinfectant. I usually have 3 or 4 canisters of wipes in my garage. I always have a couple bottles of disinfectant. I wasn't caught short for this pandemic, but I wasn't prepared for it to go months either. I had a little bit of hand sanitizer. I didn't have enough, but I was able to procure some bottles on Amazon. Gloves I always have gloves. I use them for cooking. I use them for medical. For both. I always keep a stocked first aid kit and a casualty care kit as well. So when it comes to infections, infectious diseases, germs, and all that kind of stuff, I'm no expert. I'm as novice as you can get in that field. You got to protect your face, your mucous membranes from getting the virus in there. You want to keep it, you want to be able to have clean hands. So if you have to touch your face, you're not getting the virus or a germ or a bug or something in your mucous membranes in your eyes, nose, and mouth, or in cuts on your hands and things like that. So gloves, to keep your hands clean, disinfectants to keep your hands clean, disinfecting wipes and sprays to clean your objects like that. I've always had that stuff. Masks, I just happen to have. I'm not lying. I grabbed these out of the ER one day when I was there for a visit for some reason or another. These things were always readily available. They're easy. I would always grab a few when I was a first responder because, if I had to go in someplace and I needed a mask, it was there. They didn't care at the hospitals if you took a few to protect yourself out in the field. But you know what? They ended up coming home with me, a few of them, and that's just the way it is. I procured a respirator many years ago. Not a respirator, a mask. That's not a respirator because it doesn't provide oxygen. It just cleans or filters oxygen as air as I breathe it in. And then medical stuff I've just gathered over the years. So I did buy a couple disposable masks recently, 4 of them, and 95 rated. And the 95 means the 95% of I think if I have it right, 95% of particulates will be filtered out in it. There's still 5% coming through depending on how small they are. I just recently purchased these 2 items right here from RDR Gear. Came in the mail yesterday. It is a mask holder. So you take these kind of filter masks like this or anything else you can get your hands on that is got a rating to protect or block viruses and germs and filter out the air that you're breathing. You can cut it to sizes that fit into this mask right here. Okay, let me use the blue one, it's probably easier to see. Right here, you cut it to fit in there. So this ends up becoming 5 masks. So one of these is turned into 5 masks using this. I pull it out. If I can't clean it and reuse it, then I throw it away. I clean the mask. I put a new one in there. It has straps that you put around your head. So, and that's from RDR gear. They're soft rubber. I picked up a black and a blue one. Black because it looks mean. Blue because it doesn't look mean. You know, I figure if I go out, I don't care if people think I look mean, but at least my wife won't look mean, or my kids. You know, and I have like, what if we have to leave the house? I always tell my wife this. What if we have to leave the house? What if it gets that bad? We have to leave. The government tells us we have to leave, and we decide we're going to follow that rule. Well, you know, we can grab. I keep this stuff centrally located. I can grab a bunch of it. I have masks. I have weapons, I have first aid, we grab it, we go. You know, this first aid kit is stuff for the family, boo-boos, bandages, tweezers. You know, it's a boo-boo kit for the most part. Antiseptics, tape, just things like that. Then this one is a little bit more in-depth. It's got some gunshot wound or some puncture wound, stop the bleeding kind of things. It's got splints, it's got more gloves, it's got eye wash, it's got tourniquets, things like wraps, things like that in it. And there are a few things I took out that'll go back in for this. You got to collect things. You got to be prepared. Don't look at something and go, oh, when am I ever going to use that? You never know what's going to happen in this world. Nobody ever thought we'd get 3 feet of snow here in Connecticut that would stop us from being able to travel anywhere for a week. It took literally a week for them to plow my street for me to get a vehicle out of my house. We've had power outages for days on end. The police right now are not responding to minor calls. Okay, medical. You go to the hospital, there's a chance they may not let you in the hospital if they are getting overwhelmed. So you have, and in your first responders, they're people. Your nurses, your doctors, your police officers, your firefighters, your EMTs and paramedics, they're people. Okay, and they get scared like everybody else, and you just don't know what you're going to end up with. So being prepared. Now, again, it's up to you to determine what's overboard for you and what's not overboard for you. But it never hurts to put together some items for you to have and your family to have in case something does happen. You know, look at Katrina. You know, look at back in was it Louisiana when in the 1918 when the levees broke then. I mean, Katrina, the levees broke during Katrina. That's not the first time the levees broke. You know, an area the size of New England in, I think it was 1918, was flooded. The size of New England was flooded. So, you know, people probably weren't going, hey, the levees are going to break. You know, back then, they probably thought the levees were good for the time. And you got to remember the time that they lived in and what they had for resources. So whenever you think that we're good, think again. Say, you know what? Maybe we're not as good as we think we are. We live in a fragile world. Our economics are very fragile. Our power system is fragile. Our commerce system is fragile. Things come from all over the world now, so you don't know what's traveling with where. So just be safe, prepare yourself. Think about, you know, there's plenty of websites you can go to. The CDC has tons of stuff on how to prepare yourself. Your local emergency management systems will have things, but get yourself prepared. At least have a little bit. So at least if something happens, you have an initial outbreak, you have an initial amount of stuff, and then as things calm, you can start to buy more stuff. You start seeing more things appear on the internet, on Amazon and different websites and whatnot, saying, hey, we have this available. Hey, we have that available. So Sam's Club, you know, there's a good one. Costco, Sam's Club, BJ's, things like that. Things weren't available. Now I went in the other day and there's tons of paper towels and toilet paper, tons of it. You know, this stuff's hand sanitizer and cleaning products are still hard to come by. I would like to be able to get some more disinfecting wipes, but that's just the way it is. You know, so I just ration what I have and I make sure that I use it frugally. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment areas. I hope you are staying safe out there, and I hope you're taking this serious. Your freedom is important, but so is protecting other people from getting hurt as well. So you have to find the fine line you are willing to walk between freedom and being good to other people. Okay, y'all stay safe. Have a great day.